Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a fabulous day. I talked about handbag research on a previous Minks Monday, and I asked if you would be interested in getting the exact steps or maybe a little bit more in-depth information on what I do when it comes to adding new items to my collection. So that's what I wanted to do for you today. Research is imperative when it comes to adding anything to my collection, be it handbags, small leather goods, footwear, anything at all, only because usually when it comes to impulse purchases, they don't necessarily end up working out for me. Not saying that they're not fabulous, but they don't end up staying too long in my collection, thus costing me a pretty penny in the long run. So I thought I would share those steps with you, and hopefully you find this video helpful. So let's get started, shall we? The first step to my handbag research is YouTube videos. I will watch hours upon hours of YouTube videos. People might think that it might seem a little obsessive or just that I'm paying too much attention to adding something to my collection, but like I said, this ends up working out for me. So YouTube videos, I will watch the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to hear as much information as possible on them. And I don't just want to hear the good side of items, because if I end up hearing just the good side of items, then I'm going to buy them, and then in the long run, I'll just say, what? This didn't work out for me because of this. This didn't work out because of that. So I like to hear it all. Good, bad, what have you. It doesn't matter. And another thing that I really like to do when it comes to YouTube videos is I also like to go into the comment section, because in the comment section, you'll also get a lot of candid feedback from people that might not necessarily have a YouTube video, or they might not have an Instagram or anything like that. And I'll get into Instagram in just a second. But you can hear the feedback, and someone might say, well, this bag is great, but it has this problem, or this bag, I used it for 6 months and then this happened. So you get so much more information by not only listening to what the reviewer is saying, but you get a lot of information from the people watching the video, and it might be something that the person that's reviewing the item isn't necessarily discussing. So YouTube, hands down, is by far the first place that I end up going for research. The second step are forums/articles. One of my favorite places to go is the Purse Forum. The Purse Forum has hundreds upon thousands of threads on a specific type of bag, on a specific type of texture, leather, collection, what have you. There is just so much information on there, and people will often share pictures if there is a wear and tear issue or anything like that. They will also end up incorporating those pictures, so you have a little bit more of a visual to go off of. So I love going on there, and sometimes I've noticed that if I have a bag on my wish list after I do the YouTube videos, I'm feeling all great, I'm thinking, okay, this bag just might be it, it'll be wonderful, and then I go onto the Purse Forum, and then I start seeing either concerns that people have or wear and tear issues that people have, and it kind of starts to shed a different light on the item that I'm thinking about getting. So it has saved me 1,000 times, and I am eternally appreciative of that forum for just having so much information. Another place that I like to go is the Purse blog. They often have full-on articles on classics, on Chanel pieces, on the good, the bad. I love that. Another one is Brag My Bag. They have tons of articles on luxury goods as well. And I also like to go into the comment section of those articles, because then people will also chime in about experiences that they have had or things that they have noticed with the bag that they're talking about on the article. So those three are the ones that I really end up feeling the most comfortable going to for information. The Purse Forum, Purse blog, and Brag My Bag. Number 3 is Instagram. Now, I will be the first one to admit I totally sound like a major creeper when it comes to Instagram, because now that I've gone through the YouTube videos, now that I've gone through the articles, if I still have something in mind, I really want to see pictures of these bags, right? If I already have the image going on, I want to see more pictures. I want to see what types of leathers there are, what types of hardware, and Instagram is an awesome place to get all of those pictures. I end up putting hashtag Chanel Classic Flap, Chanel Deauville, Louis Vuitton Speedy. There's just so many images that come out. Sometimes I feel that I go into like, I don't know, it's almost like an abyss of photos. I feel like I get so far in that I can't really see myself out, because I just keep going further and further. I don't know. Like I said, I might sound like a total creeper, but it's the truth. But I'll end up putting a hashtag and I go to, you just see all these images pop up, and you end up seeing, like I said, the colors. You end up seeing the hardwares and things like that. Some people will also share how much an item is, if it's from a recent collection. And in the comments section, you will also hear people say, well, I had an issue with mine because of this. So it's almost like YouTube, but just in picture form. So again, you can get a ton of information through Instagram, and you can also end up following some amazing people, and you get to see so many fabulous collections out there. I have followed so many people just from doing research that I end up seeing their pictures, and I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, these bags are amazing. These bags are like drool worthy, you know what I mean? And I'll end up following them just because I like their entire account. So like I said, it might sound like a total creeper. I might sound almost borderline stalker-esque, but I gotta keep it honest. I gotta keep it real. That is what I do. I go on Instagram. But like I said, you see so many different styles, and you also get a lot of candid feedback that way from people that have the item. Or you also get, if other people are researching the bag, you'll also see the questions that they're asking whoever's posting that picture. Does it have this with the handles? Does it have this with the structure? Does it have that? So other things that you might take into consideration that you didn't think of before. So Instagram, awesome place to get even more information about whatever it is that you're looking for. Step number 4, online consignment shops. I love online consignment shops because I feel that I get a lot of information that isn't necessarily discussed in YouTube videos, isn't necessarily talked about in Instagram pictures or any type of article or anything like that. And what I'm talking about is wear and tear. Wear and tear is very important to me, as well as resale value, and I will touch base on that in just a second. But when it comes to wear and tear, you can end up seeing how the bag will end up wearing over time. Of course, this is really a gray area because everyone treats their bags differently. Some people end up babying their bags, some people don't. But places like Yogi's Closet or Yugi's Closet, however you end up pronouncing it, but on there, sometimes they'll put the age of the item. They'll say it's from 2011. It's in excellent condition. It's in pristine condition. It's been what was the other one? Well used, I think, or gently used. I'm sorry, that's what it was. And you'll get a little bit more information on that. Plus, you also get to see common wear on online consignment shops, which I think is amazing. So for example, let's say that there's a bag that you have in mind, you're excited, you did all the other steps and you're thinking about it, and then you go to the online consignment shops and you end up seeing that the bag ends up wearing a little bit more on the right. And then you end up seeing all of the different bags that they have of the same model, and you end up seeing that, again, the right side has a lot of wear. So that's something that you can expect to happen with your bag. And even if they'll say that, like I said, it'll have, if it's pristine or if it's well or gently used, you can still end up noticing that it's something that will potentially end up happening to your handbag with the wear on the right side, or there might be a hardware issue or anything like that. So you really get to see the wear and tear, and you get to see common wear, which I love. Another thing, as I mentioned a second ago, is resale value. Now, resale value might not be important to a lot of people. It is very important to me, only because when it comes to luxury goods, there are a few bags that I have in my collection that I can with certainty say that I will have with me for 20 plus years no matter what. I am constantly changing my mind. Sometimes a bag might end up working out for me. It's on my wish list. I get the bag and I love it, and then I fall out of love within a couple of months or maybe within a year or 2 years. A lot of YouTubers get a lot of slack from doing reviews on items that they love, and then all of a sudden you hear that they're selling them, and then people get really upset. But at the end of the day, it's all a matter of personal preference, and tastes change. There might be a day that, I mean, it doesn't have to be about luxury goods. It could be about anything. Let's say that you're the type of person that only wears black, and let's say that one day you wake up and you're just thinking, you know what? I'm sick of black. I'm going to wear red. I'm going to wear red all day, every day type of situation. You know what I mean? We are all allowed to change our minds. So for me, when it comes to resale value, it's important because I end up changing my mind so much, or my lifestyle ends up changing. So let's say that I'm thinking about buying a $6,000 handbag. I'm excited about it and I love it, but then I go onto the online consignment shops and I end up seeing that the bags, for the most part, have an average of $2,500, $2,300. So if I end up buying a bag brand new, and let's say I fall out of love with it, I can expect to lose quite a bit of money if I go to sell it in the future because it doesn't hold its resale value. So that's why I also like to incorporate the resale value into items. So there are items on my wish list. If you guys watched my top 10 luxury wish list items, I talked about the Chanel reissue. That is a bag that I am looking forward to purchasing on the pre-loved market because unfortunately, as beautiful as that bag is, it doesn't hold its resale value. It retails anywhere from $5,000 or $5,500 to $6,000 plus tax. And then on the resale market, you can find it for $2,800, $2,700, almost in like pristine condition. So for me, because I end up changing my mind so often, it makes more sense to go the pre-loved route with something that expensive versus getting it brand new and then being bummed out that let's say it doesn't work out and then I go to sell it and I lose quite a bit of money. So not everyone is all excited about resale value or anything like that. It's not something that they take into consideration, but again, for me and my own personal peace of mind, it's something that really ends up helping out with things that I want to add to my collection. Not saying that sometimes impulse purchases or items that don't have great resale value don't end up working out, not at all. For example, my Celines. I am a big fan of Celine. Their mini luggage and their Phantom. I think that they are beautiful bags. They have exquisite leather, but I already know that they don't have the best resale value. So I can expect that if I end up falling out of love with them. You know what I mean? So that's why I love online consignment shops because it gives me a lot more information, probably the most pivotal information when it comes to having something stay in my collection or adding something to my collection, and it'll really solidify if I'm kind of going in that route or not. You know what I mean? So not only do you get wear and tear, you get common wear and tear, and you also get the resale value, which I think is amazing when it comes to adding anything to your collection. The fifth step is going to the boutique. Now, I know that's not accessible for everyone. Some people have to drive a couple of hours, a couple 100 miles to get to the boutique. But if you do have a boutique available for you to go to, I strongly suggest going in there to try out the item, not to buy, which is going to be the hardest thing, to refrain from purchasing the item. But let's say that you're in the market for, let's say, a Speedy 25 bandolier from Louis Vuitton, and you have an idea as to the items that you want to carry with you. I strongly suggest taking the items that you would like to incorporate inside of that handbag so you can really get a feel for the bag, and you can really end up seeing how much weight will end up will add to the bag with the items that you're carrying. And of course there's a difference between looking at reviews, and there's a difference between looking at pictures on Instagram versus having the item in your hot little hands, and you can really end up assessing if it ends up working out for your lifestyle. Things like the Chanel Mini, it might end up working out for a lot of people, but let's say that you're a little bit on the taller side, it might end up being a little too short on your torso. Or maybe the Pochette Métis, you have an idea that you really love the bag, but it might end up being a little too short, it might end up being a little too long on your body frame. So by going into the boutique to try them out, to see how it ends up fitting, really ends up helping out without committing to purchase. Some sales associates, I know some people might be thinking, well, that's a waste of time of the sales associate, it's a waste of time of this. I don't think it's a waste of time, because at any point in time that you're thinking about spending any type of money on these luxury goods, at least for me anyways, it makes sense to go to the boutique just to try it out. So that way I have the pressure of purchasing out of my mind, and I'm just going there specifically for research. You know what I mean? Plus, by going into the boutique, you can ask the sales associates questions. You can ask them about color transfer. You can ask them about wear and tear. You can ask them about popularity, what have you. Anything that you want to ask, you can do while you're there. I know not all sales associates are very are very forthcoming with information. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth to get the information out of them. But then you also have other sales associates that are so incredibly amazing, that go in depth on the item. They tell you the wear and tear. They tell you the color transfer. And they also give you a little mini history lesson on the bag. They tell you that this bag came from the archives of Louis Vuitton in 1947 and blah, 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 blah. I don't know about you. I'm kind of a bookworm. I'm kind of a history buff. So sometimes the history part of these items really adds to the beauty of them, for me anyways. And I also say this from personal experience, make sure you take your time. I know some people might think that, well, well, if I'm wasting the sales associate's time, or, you know, I've been in here 5 hours or 3 hours, let's say 2 hours. And, you know, I don't think anyone's really in there for 5 hours, but maybe there is. Who knows? I'm not one to judge. But let's say that you're there for a couple of hours and you're just trying to get as much information. All I'm saying is that by taking your time with doing the research at the boutique, you'll feel that much better when you finally do make the decision if that bag is going to be added to your collection walking out of the boutique. You're not going to second guess yourself. You're not going to think twice about the bag. You're not going to think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have, maybe I should have. And I'm speaking to you again from experience. I used to be the type of person that I would constantly say, and sometimes even to this day, I'll say, you know, I'll go for something. It might not even be luxury goods. I'll go for something and then I walk out and I just think, oh, I should have gone for this or I should have gone for that. And there goes that doubt. Then I start driving myself crazy. So by having all of this research, I'm just kind of like, okay, I went for it. I go for the item. I walk out and I feel like I'm on cloud 9. So definitely take your time. And the last step is to make a list of the pros and cons. This might seem like it's super old school. Some people might think it's so silly of me to do this, but it is the last step, and it's really what ends up helping me out the most is pros and cons. And when it comes to making that list, be 100% honest with yourself. You know, I am the type of person that I can pretty much justify anything. It's kind of scary. You know, it's not, it doesn't always end up working out for me, but by making a list and putting the pros and putting the cons, I can end up seeing if the pros outweigh the cons, or maybe the cons outweigh the pros, and maybe that bag won't end up making it to my collection after going through all the steps, after going on YouTube videos, after checking out forums and articles and Instagram, and being able to go into the boutique, go on online consignment shops, everything. But when I make that list, I am 100% honest with what it is that I love about the bag and what I don't like about the bag. There are times that there are 0 cons, and that's going to happen, just like there might be times that there will be maybe 10 different cons versus 2 pros, you know. And you could put any type of pros in there. It could be because you think the bag is beautiful, because you think the bag will end up working out for your lifestyle. There are no rules when it comes to the pros and cons. It's all a matter of you, and it's all a matter of your personal preference. Don't take anything else into consideration. Don't put on there, well, Sally thinks it's a beautiful bag and Minnie thinks it's a great bag. Who cares? Sally and Minnie aren't the ones that are going to be using the bag. You are, you know what I mean? So 100% I say doing a list, making a list is something that really ends up making the most sense, I would have to say. So like I said, some people might think it's so silly of me, but it helps out tremendously. All right, you guys, so that does it for my 6 steps to handbag research, or for research for luxury goods. I hope that it was helpful, and just know that even with all of the research done, and take from this video what you will, but I wanted to share what I end up, what I end up doing. But even with all of the research, even with all of the videos that you can watch on YouTube, even with all the articles, all the pictures on Instagram and everything, sometimes it just takes owning the bag to see if it really ends up suiting your lifestyle, you know, and that's okay. Sometimes it takes that to happen, and sometimes you'll be pleasantly surprised, and other times it might not end up working out. But I know that ever since I've taken these steps, I feel a lot more comfortable about the items that I have in my collection, because in the beginning I was buying items just, out of the blue. Like, I felt like I was going off the deep end, you know, and I was buying them because they were pretty. I was buying them because of this, buying them because of that, and not necessarily because they worked out for me. And what ended up happening? I ended up selling them, and I ended up losing quite a bit of money. Some of these items I have lost thousands and thousands of dollars on it because I didn't take the time to think back to see if it ends up working out for me. Like I said, everyone is going to be different. Some people don't need handbag research, or some people don't need research whatsoever. Some people go off of an impulse, and sometimes the impulse ends up working out fabulously. But all I know is how I kind of view things differently now. And I'm not trying to take away from impulse purchases by any means whatsoever. At the end of the day, I'm just trying to share my experience with you. And like I've told you guys before, I'm always going to be 100% honest and transparent about anything that I've ever encountered when it comes to luxury goods. So hopefully you find this video to be helpful. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red button down below and hitting that bell so you're notified when I upload videos, which is anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week. And I will see you guys all next week. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day, you guys.